me to speak slowly. I grew up in Chicago, and in Chicago, everybody speaks like this. So I'm going to try to speak slowly, but if I speak too fast, Gregory, just tell me to slow down. Got 3 key points here. I'm going to talk about the healthcare.gov. This is a U.S. initiative for healthcare, and I'm not going to talk about the political part, but I'm going to talk about the IT part. The IT part was a disaster that we can learn from. I'm going to talk about estimation as being critical and a core process that everyone should use in a repeatable way. And how viable estimation really is part of an affordability process. That just estimating something and coming up with what we think it will cost or how long we think it will take is only part of the job. That the full job would be to actually figure out what's the best or most affordable solution. And the most affordable isn't always the lowest cost, but it's the best value. Now, Obamacare, I don't know how much you hear about it over here. It was called the Affordable Health Care Act. And the goal was to get uninsured people in the United States with health insurance insured. There's big problems in healthcare in the United States. It's very expensive and keeps on getting more and more expensive. But there are some people who didn't have health care. So the goal was to get health care for everyone. Now again, I'm going to stay away from the political things because politically it's working really poorly. But here's the problem. So they said, okay, by last year in October, everyone who didn't already have health care needed to register on this website to get health care. And there the problem started. Now, as we look at healthcare.gov and some of the problems there, we're going to see problems that aren't just unique to the U.S. government or to healthcare, but that are everywhere. We're going to see that there were decisions to try to do too much in too little time, with too little budget. Everybody tried to blame everybody else, but the truth is it was impossible to build that system in that amount of time. There were delays in policies and requirements. The requirements changed during the problem. There were huge complexities in integration. There was no time for testing. They just deployed this system that really hadn't been tested because somebody said you had to deploy it on that date. They have 30% of the system that was still not built on the day of deployment. And maybe that's not all bad, but today, if you have a brand new baby, you cannot register it for health care yet. So there's just been a nightmare. Here's the challenge. There were 6 major systems involved in healthcare.gov. 55 different contractors, 55 different development organizations, 5 different agencies of the U.S. government all trying to coordinate, and 300 plus, 5,300 healthcare providers, 5,300 companies that wanted to give healthcare. So you can see there's a lot of stakeholders here, a lot of potential for problems. If you look at the latest news on healthcare.gov, and this is from a few weeks ago, it just doesn't work. There's not much security. Again, if you have a baby, you can't register for healthcare only because the system doesn't work, and it goes on and on. I'm fortunate many organizations, such as my company, pays for private health care, so we don't have these issues, but it's been a real disaster. Now, if you look at how much money they spent on the healthcare.gov IT systems, originally they claimed to have spent $150 million. Well, as the facts were dug into, it turns out it was over $300 million on putting this system together. $300 million buys you about 2.7 million hours of development in the United States. And it could take about 3 years. That $2.7 million will generate a system, a huge system, also will generate about 4,900 delivered defects. That is, when you put the system in the field, there will be about 4,900 bugs. Now, there's no software systems that are bug-free, and that's just part of life, is if you're going to be defects in new systems.